Thank you. And the next speaker is Mr. Hayes.
Thank you very much indeed, President. And firstly, can I congratulate Mr. Carnegie for his report and his opinion. I think it's a very comprehensive assessment of the EIB's activities over 2013, and I also think he makes a number of very useful proposals that we might tease out over the next while. Can I make this distinction, Chairperson? I think we need to make the distinction between political banking on the one hand and banking for investment on the other. Political banking usually ends in one sorry state, which is normally bankruptcy. And the task of the EIB, as I understand it, as is set out within its mandate, is to invest in good projects that can, financially speaking, wash their face, and projects that actually help an economy. And I think it is absolutely appropriate that politicians such as ourselves see the role of EIB in responding to a need, but then we must stand back and make sure they make the right prudential decisions in terms of the bank, because like any bank it must be able to sustain itself, getting in money at one rate, charging it at the next. So I think it's crucially important that we make that particular point. Bruegel said recently, Chairperson, that it's never been a better time for investment, infrastructural investment especially, and they described it as a no-brainer because of the rates of interest. I think that's absolutely right, but we need to make the distinction, as I said, between projects that actually can help an economy become more competitive, projects that can actually stimulate economic activity, as against projects which are simply there because they're on a politician's wish list. And I think we need to make that distinction very clear. One of the proposals that Mr. Carnegie makes in his report is this very novel idea of the EIB's using some of its funds to help finance small business startups. And can I give an example of that? Not so much in 2013, but this year in Ireland, taking up the challenge that the chairperson raised. We recently had an announcement in Ireland where 3 parties came together to help fund business startups in Ireland. The German KfW Bank, the Irish Government, through its strategic bank, and the EIB. And that's an example of where the EIB can use, in a collaborative way, partnership funding from other proposals, from other banks, from other entities. And I think we need to see and encourage the role of the EIB in that particular area. The chairperson asked the question of the countries that went through a programme, one of which was my own. Are the end users actually getting the money? Well, I can report for this year, 2014, not for 2013, but maybe we'll get the information from the EIB later on that issue. For 2014, I understand the drawdown in Ireland will be 850 million, where it was 210 million in 2010. So I think for countries coming out of a programme, recovering, we do need to see a scaling up of the end user being able to access these funds. And certainly in the case of Ireland, thanks to the work of the EIB, that is the case, and we very much appreciate that. I recently had an opportunity of visiting the EIB in Luxembourg with other colleagues, other EPP colleagues, and I was struck by the mandate that they have been asked to participate in following President Juncker's proposal for his 300 billion investment chairperson. And I think the task that the EIB face, and they need to be supported in that, is to come forward with good proposals. Proposals that will make a difference. As I said, not political proposals, but proposals that would help economies grow and prosper, where small businesses are supported, proposals which help competition. I think they're the kind of proposals that we need to see. And I think we should use this platform today, Chairperson, to encourage the 28 member states of the European Union, if they are going to fit the actual task that President Juncker has set them, to bring forward proposals that are actually going to achieve that. And I think the EIB need to be supported in that regard. Some remarks I would make about possible amendments that we might look at. I think it's really important that strategic investment in urban areas and urban regeneration is supported. I think we might look at that between now and the final report. I also very much agree with the need for investment in education and educational infrastructure. One of the big deficits in Europe, if we are going to catch up with other parts of the world, is to see special funding provided especially for what we might describe as third level or fourth level education. There is a huge task on the single energy union and the role of the EIB in that especially. One area that wasn't mentioned in the report for 2013 is in social housing. I think there is an opportunity for investment here if we get the model right. And the final remark I would make, Chairperson, is this. I think there is an opportunity for much greater parliamentary oversight of the work of the EIB. The questions that you asked, Chairperson, about funding the end user, we should have, and I am not so certain who should do this, whether it is Econ or this committee or a combination. As a member of Econ I say this, but I do think there is a role for much greater parliamentary oversight of the work of the EIB, and I suspect the EIB would support that. I think they want to engage with MEPs and this Parliament in a much more forthright way, and I hope we can possibly look at that between now and the final report coming out from Mr. Carnegie. Thank you, Chairperson.
Vielen Dank, Herr Kollege.